The Titanic is probably the most famous maritime disaster in the world. An ocean liner hits an iceberg, cracks in half, sinks down to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and stays there for 73 years before being discovered again. The whole scenario is gargantuan in scale. Human error, substantial loss of life, hubris, classism, and on top of that, it was cold. So here are 5 interesting facts about the Titanic. Number 1, this lady, Violet Jessup, was a stewardess on board the Titanic. In 1911, a year before the ship sank, she was also a stewardess on board Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic. On September 20th, 1911, the Olympic collided with another ship that was badly damaged, but it was able to get back to port without sinking. Whew, close call. Jessup ended up surviving the Titanic. A few years later, she found herself working on the HMHS Britannic, another one of Titanic's sister ships. I mean, how many siblings did the ship have? The Britannic was repurposed to serve as a hospital ship to aid in WW1 because I found out that saying World War I is very difficult. Guess what? It hit a sea mine and it blew up, killing 30 people. She survived that too. She was #blessed. Number 2. A lot of rich guys were supposed to be on that boat. John Jacob Astor was the richest guy on the ship, and unfortunately, he ain't make it. Milton Hershey, J.P. Morgan, and Alfred Gwynne Vanderbilt were all supposed to sail on the Titanic, but ultimately decided not to go. Vanderbilt did, however, sail on the RMS Lusitania, which was torpedoed in 1915 by a German U-boat. He didn't make it. Number 3, Dorothy Gibson was an American actress who survived the Titanic. A month later, she was like, I'm gonna make this a movie. In May 1912, Saved from the Titanic was released, and she drove home the accuracy by wearing the same clothes she wore that night. Method acting. The film turned out to be a huge hit. Everybody was like, oh my God, they saved her from the Titanic. I love this. And then all the copies were burned in 1914 in a fire. I would do anything to see that movie. Anything. Number 4. Few stories in history match the heroism of the Titanic musicians. They played to the very end, and all 8 of them ended up dying. 5 of them were never recovered, including 20-year-old French cellist Roger Marie. I don't want to fuck up his name. In 1913, after his disappearance, he was labeled a deserter by the French army. It wasn't until 2000 that he was declared dead in France. TBH, I don't know how that happened, and we're going to leave it there. Number 5. Remember this funnel thing that fell on very attractive Fabrizio? Possibly ventilation from the kitchen, but mostly aesthetic reasons. Those are the 5 facts that I have about the Titanic right now, but I will probably come back with more because I am severely obsessed with the Titanic, always have been, always will be, and I guess class dismissed.